Check your calendars, everybody. I think it's Thursday. It's Jim and Amadeus. If it's not, please let us know. We greatly would appreciate it. We are here, and where else would we be? Boston and Dallas last night. I know we didn't talk about it, but we're only going to talk about it for a second. Boston and Dallas played last night. Dallas came storming back, but the Celtics now are on the precipice of shutting out the Dallas Mavericks and basically hoisting another Larry O'Brien trophy.
Yeah, this series is well over. I mean, Boston has dominated. They've been the best team in the NBA all season, really. But yeah, even going into the series, the Dallas, I didn't think was that great. I didn't think they were the best team in the West, and to get here, kind of had a feeling Boston was gonna just roll over them. It's funny though, because if you watch the games, it kind of feels like in the Western Conference Final, the Timberwolves gave everything they had to beat the Nuggets, the defending champions, and then really had nothing left for Dallas. And it kind of feels the same here too. Dallas gave a ton to beat the Timberwolves there, and now they had nothing left in the tank for Boston. And it's been the same kind of series where the Timberwolves were losing in close games. It was like they were always right there, but never enough. And that's how the Mavericks have felt in the last two, at least, not that first one. They got destroyed.
Well, I mean, the amazing stat to me is that Boston is 15-2 in the playoffs, and the two games they lost were at home. They haven't lost a game on the road.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's not normal. That is definitely not normal. So, they got one more game in Dallas, and then they head out to back to Boston. So it looks like another Celtics World Championship, which they've had more than a few. So looks like Boston's got it nailed. All right. Speaking of having it nailed, the PGA is started. Our leaderboard at Pinehurst number 2, as of the moment, and check if I'm wrong. Patrick McCanty finished round 1 at -5. He's followed by Ludwig Alberg, who's at -4. Pavon is at -3. Tony Finau is at -2. And then the players who took the afternoon session are just getting started. A lot of -1s. As a matter of fact, real quick count, 23 people at -1. And they have a lot of golf to play. So early on at the U.S. Open, Pinehurst Country Club in Pinehurst, North Carolina, where they're playing Pinehurst number 2. So there you go.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. The field's a bit diverse right now. Obviously, that's going to change because we have guys like Scheffler and guys like that just starting now. I think they're only like 4 holes in or something. But yeah, it's funny. For the U.S. Open, there's only 3 Americans in the top 9, and really, you see like at the last one it was all Americans dominating, so it's a little ironic that at the US Open they're not doing so well. But we did say they go out of their way to pick a course that tries to murder the golfers, so that's exactly what we're seeing here. I believe Tiger Woods is already like gone. He's not making the cut, and he's not even like done the first 9 yet, so it's going to be one of those weekends for sure. But it's also funny because Ludwig Aberg, he was in the conversation for the PGA Championship. He fell flat on his face in that one, and here he is, second place right now. So we'll have to keep tabs on that.
I'm looking down the list. I haven't found Scotty Scheffler yet.
Yeah, I think because he just went off. I think he's like on the 4th hole right now. Maybe he hit a bogey.
I got Rory.
Well,
I got Rory's on the 3rd hole, and he's playing even par. Bryson DeChambeau He's on the second hole. He's playing even par.
Ooh, yeah, Scheffler's +1 after 3 holes. So the proof is in the pudding itself. Scheffler just won the most recent tournament. He's obviously been the best guy in the sport over the last 2 years, pretty much, and he's struggling right out of the gate in this course. So that'll tell you all you need to know about this course.
Max Homa is on the second hole. He's 1 under. So that's not bad. Sergio finished at 1 under. That's for Sergio. That's pretty good. He's played some horrible golf as of late, but now he turned in some there at Pinehurst. Of course, Sergio's played Pinehurst. They've had three tournaments, 3 U.S. Opens there since the 2000s, and Sergio has always shown up for that. Jordan Spieth just got started. He's hasn't gotten anything yet. He's still on the first hole. So Max Homa, 2 holes in, he's got a 1 under. Anybody else? Xander, he's 1 under at 3.
It's funny because there's like a huge tie for 5th right now at 1 under, and that'll tell you again. These are guys at the top that have finished their 18 holes, and all you got is 1-5, 1-4, 1-3, 1-2, and the rest is 1 under. It's not a friendly course. We were talking about the PGA Championship, how you would probably need somewhere around 20 under to win, and that's what would happen. This one, the winner might be 8 under by the end of the 4 days.
Look at if you're watching the show on TV as we speak, you'll see that. It's a very interesting course in so much as there's some really terrible grass out there. You get off that course, man, you are in funky stuff. It is like briar patches, and there's sand with it. So, it's like, I don't know. It's just a gnarly course. It's like somebody, decided, okay, let me build a course that if you do not put the ball in play, you're going to be crazy. And then you've got those greens, which we talked about, that are like upside down bowls. And you can literally, and I've seen it happen. I saw Mickelson do this. I saw Mickelson chip on and off the same green 4 times.
Yeah.
He chipped it on the green, it rolled off. He chipped it on the green, it rolled off. He chipped it on the green, it rolled off. It's like putting was simple. Getting it on the green is hard. So it's a tough course, and 5 under is not a bad score at Pinehurst.
Yeah, again, he might just set himself apart from the group, just like what was it that 8 under before 9 under, something like that on the first day there the PGA Championships.
The 61, the guy shoots a 60, whatever, 61 or 62.
So this 5 under, it's gonna put Cantley in the running for sure, and you can get him right now at +700. So
whoa,
not terrible, because like I said, Scheffler's already bogeyed. So just to catch, he's done 3 holes and he's +1. So just to catch the leader, he's got to go 6 under now the rest of the way. So it's not going to be easy for these all stars, if you want to call them that, the superstar golfers right now. It's not gonna be an easy course.
Well, the other thing too is you're now playing in the afternoon, so the greens that might have been a little easier to play because they're wet and the ball kind of sticks a little more. They're not going to be sticky. They're going to be, you're going to land on there. It's going to bounce. So it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough, and we'll see. We definitely will see. Now here we go. We've got tomorrow. Because tomorrow's Friday. I was informed by our research department that is tomorrow. You got the beginning of the Euros, and I know how excited you are about about the Scotland possibility of bouncing Germany off, right off the get-go.
Yeah, we got a lot of exciting matches. Obviously, Germany and Scotland to kick it off there. It's funny, Germany was minus 400 a week or two ago. Now they're down to minus 350. But yeah, that's going to kick us off at 3 p.m. tomorrow. And then we got a full slate on the weekend. 3 matches pretty much after that. 3 matches almost every day up until Thursday, where there's the 2-matcher. And then it goes back to 3. But yeah, absolutely. Saturday we're going to have Hungary and Switzerland, also part of that Germany-Scotland group. That's going to be a good match. Saturday at noon Eastern time, we're going to have Spain and Croatia, and that's going to be a massive match because personally, I think that has to be the toughest group to get out of by far this year. So this group has Spain, Croatia, Italy, and Albania. And so Albania obviously being the weakest of the teams, but really, they're not a pushover. They played very well in their Euro qualifiers. They did have a bit of a weaker group, but yeah, what makes this group so hard is the other 3 teams. Italy is obviously the defending champion from 3 years ago, I guess. But yeah. Obviously, the big story is they missed the last World Cup, but now they have a new manager. They finally fired Mancini. Thank God. He was he was a wreck as the manager, but yeah, they brought in Luciano Spalletti. He won the Serie A title with Napoli 2 seasons ago, and he understands the value of the youth on the team. He understands how to use them, and he plays with a more attacking mindset than Mancini did. So this is going to be an interesting team for me. Italy, I think, is a big question mark. I know a lot of people are just discounting them, even though they're defending champions, because they missed the World Cup. But Italy is a big question mark for me. I wouldn't shock me if, they fumble. That's what they always find a way to fumble. But it's the new manager for me where I think maybe they have a brighter future in this one. But even Spain and Croatia, obviously, I've talked about how I like Spain to win the group and to win the entire thing. I'm really high on the Spain team. They won the UEFA Nations League last year, and they won the final against Croatia. So in penalties, and Croatia is a team, Croatia, I know I made a comment about them being the bridesmaid, never the bride, and it's unfortunate, but this is a quality team. The point is, this is a quality team that always makes a deep run and finds themselves there. That the last World Cup, they finished 3rd. They beat Morocco in the consolation match. At the Euro Cup prior, they made a pretty deep run. They obviously they had that World Cup that they lost in the final to France. I think it was back in 2018. So this is a team, every tournament, the talk is how this team is aging and they're not going to be as good. And I agree, the team is aging. Guys like Modric, they're not like what they were, 5-6 years ago. But if you look at the way Croatia plays, they don't score goals. They play defensively, and it's a defensive setup that these older players can play, and that's what makes Croatia so good. They don't concede. So they have the defense. You know how I feel about my defense, Jim, when I always say defense. So
right.
Croatia is wouldn't shock me if they make a deep run just because they have the defensive capability to do so.
I just looked ahead to Sunday. England drew Serbia. That's not necessarily a walk in the park.
Yeah, it's not a walk in the park for sure because Serbia can score goals, but they also they don't play defense very well.
Okay.
So England, they could have a field day with them. We'll have to see. Looking at the total in that game, it's only 2.5, which is interesting.
Okay.
Serbia. Look, you're definitely right. Like Serbia has a good attack. Obviously, we haven't really seen, we haven't talked much about Alexander Mitrovic there over the last year because he moved to Saudi Arabia to play football from Fulham there. But yeah, this is Serbia is a team that can score goals, that's for sure. And if you look at what they did in the last World Cup, they definitely scored goals. It was just that they gave up a lot of goals, and that ended up being the dagger that they couldn't beat Switzerland and Yeah, so they're definitely that's an interesting match for sure. England's a minus 223,
Hmm.
and it could be a game they win by one. It could be a game they win by a few. So
Yeah.
that's yeah. England's a team I actually think is they're minus 250 to win their group, and I don't think they have a very strong group. The second best team in that group is Denmark, and I always take Denmark. I had Denmark to make a deep run as a dark horse in the last Euro Cup, and they did
Hmm.
so. I think they got
They
out of the
did.
round
Yeah.
of 16, and they did go a bit far, but I don't know. I always find over the last 2 or 3 years, or 4 years even, I found myself taking this Denmark team to win groups with England in it quite a bit, and I
Hmm.
think if there was a chance a few years ago. I thought England wasn't in the best position and Denmark
Hmm.
was really thriving then. But now I think things have changed. I don't think this Denmark squad is as good, especially if you look at what they did at the World Cup 2 years ago. That was a big disappointment. I was expecting a lot more from them in that competition.
Hmm.
So Denmark is a team, as much as I wanted to, I think England's got this group locked up. They gave them a very cupcake group. The other teams being obviously Serbia and Slovenia.
Well, let
So,
me ask you. France doesn't start until Monday, and um, they get Austria. It's I guess for France, that's not a that if you're going to make a draw, that's not the draw that concerns you. I would think.
yeah, so France has looked great over the last, 2 years. Obviously, they went to the World Cup final, lost to Argentina. That's not going
Right.
to be a problem for them here because Argentina's not in this competition. Now, that being said, Austria is no pushover. I actually have Austria getting out of the group. I believe they're probably going to do it in third place, but I think they get enough points to qualify in third. And they could even finish in second over the Netherlands. Austria is a very dangerous team. They've improved a lot over the last 2 years, and I think they're going to surprise a lot of people in this Euro Cup. They have a lot of quality talent. They've had some good results in the Euro Cup qualifiers the last year. This France team is obviously, one of the best squads in the tournament. And again, France is like an England for me, where I think France has this group locked up. It's a much tougher group than England's, but the way I look at it, right, like this first match against Austria might be France's toughest match because the other two teams in the group being Netherlands and Poland. Poland is not a good team. How they, continue to qualify for these tournaments, I said it at the last World Cup. They don't have a good defense. They're not a team with a strong attack. They're really just Robert Lewandowski. And if they can't get him the ball, this is a team that struggles to produce goals. And now Robert Lewandowski is not going to be in the tournament. He picked up a serious injury in the training camp. And now without him, Poland really has no shot. I have them pegged to, so I had Austria finishing third and Poland finishing fourth in the group prior to the injury. But I think that Robert Lewandowski injury probably just seals Poland's fate at the bottom of the group. The other thing with this group is the Netherlands. A lot of people have the Netherlands as maybe a dark horse to go deep in this tournament. And I think they're going to come second, but I don't think they have a realistic shot to win this group because there's some fairly recent, results that they've played. They were in the same group as France this past year for the Euro Cup qualifiers, and France slapped them on both occasions, both home and away. So, obviously this game's going to be on a neutral site in Germany when Netherlands it plays France, but France beat Netherlands at home. They beat them in Holland, so there's nowhere this French team can't beat the Netherlands. I think they just match up well. They understand what they need to do to beat this Netherlands team and the way they play. They've played them enough over the last few years where I don't think the Netherlands has a realistic shot of getting out of this group. So, and again, Austria gets France. I always talk about this first match is really when you can catch teams off guard. They haven't played a match in the tournament. You're not necessarily up to speed. Yeah, you've been playing friendlies up until then, but I say this all the time. A friendly means nothing to me because I don't know who is playing in the game. And even if you throw, a strong starting lineup out there, you don't know where their heads are at mentally. They know the game means nothing. They could lose it 4-0 or win it 4-0, and it changes nothing. Friendlies up to the tournament, a lot of people base, their decisions in these games how a team looks in these friendly matches prior. They treat it like a preseason, but that I think is incorrect, because these preseason, if you want to call them that, these pre-tournament friendlies are more for the manager to tinker with the lineup and see, what's my best starting 11? What if I put this defensive pair out, see how they play together? And it's more of a chemistry. It's kind of just ironing and fine tuning. So I disagree. You don't get best efforts in these friendlies. And I think it can give you a false sense of security. So that's why I say, as good as France has been over the last, year in these competitive matches, if there's going to be a match they trip up, this is the one that they can trip up in, because Austria is a much better team than I think people realize with the way they've improved over the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, this first match, France isn't settled in the tournament yet. They still have to get a feel for the environment that they're going to be, playing at the stadium. I've seen just, the grass alone, really, like in South America, I see it all the time. It's a big problem. You get these newly promoted sides and the pitch quality is terrible. So a lot of people don't take that into factor, but they got to get used to playing on the pitch. Obviously, these are going to be high quality pitches because it's the Euro Cup, the UEFA approved, but still there's a comfort level of, knowing how the ball bounces when you make a pass. Is it going to go where you expect the ball to go? So these are definitely little things that I think you have to take into account. And that's why I always say the first match is the one that you can catch teams off guard in, because there's so many little things playing into a big favorite slipping up.
Amedeus, before I took the power hit there a few seconds ago, your point about, the pitch and all that is very important. The other part of that, and I've asked players before, and that is literally they say the moment the bus pulls in, right, you go into the locker room, everything is foreign. You don't know where, in other words, you don't know where your locker is. Okay. You've got to go and figure out where that's at. Little things can get you off track. And it's, you come out of the tunnel, you figure out, okay, all right, I'm coming out. I've never played in this stadium before. So every little thing, from the moment you get off the bus to the moment you literally walk out onto the pitch, it all affects, mindset wise, how you're going to play. Now, once the game gets started, that's a whole different situation. But walking into this, you're just normal. You're a human being, and you like things that you've seen before. You've seen nothing of this before.
Yeah, the last thing you want, you got to spend 10 minutes finding where the bathroom is because it's your first time there or something like that. But yeah, and especially the other thing with the comfort level is, it's a neutral site. You don't know who the fans are going to be cheering for, who shows up. Austria, this match specifically, Austria is right beside Germany. Like, I understand France is very close too, but this is not a hard travel for Austrians to fill up that building, especially in opening match. And if you're getting the neutral German fan, well, guess what? Germany's the host nation. They're regarded as one of the better teams in the tournament. They don't want France to do well. They don't want to see that team later on in the tournament, especially, they went to the final of the last World Cup. So if you're a neutral German fan, you're cheering against France in this. Plus, you're going to have some Austrians in there. This might be a hostile crowd for France in this first match.
Yeah, and to your point, the trains run from Austria there all the time. So, it's not tough for an Austrian to get there. And, I assume they're going to get on, that they probably scarfed up as many tickets as they possibly could.
Absolutely. Right. And I think you're going to see, a few of them, like even Hungary, when they play Germany, don't think that's going to be all Germans. Hungary, again, is a country that's close enough where it's just a train right away.
Yeah. So, and look, I think everybody, right? I mean, it doesn't matter what sport it is. If you are the defending world champions and you come to town, everybody wants to beat you. And so, you're going to play at the highest possible level that you can when you play those games. And so you got a target on your back before you even get started.
Yeah, 100%. And especially if you're one of the strongest teams in the
Mhm.
group, you're going to get a different team. Like
Right.
what you saw in the first match, like, oh, okay, this team went after them, right? They went after
Mhm.
the attack. Well, maybe they were playing a team they thought they could win. If they know they're
Mhm.
going up against the strongest team in the group, their
Mhm.
goal might just to be, let's take a point away. A point helps us and it hurts them.
Right.
So we tighten up on defense. We come away with a 0-0, 1-1 draw, something like that. You get a
Right.
completely different style from a team that maybe would have played a different way if you weren't as strong as you were, or the pedigree that you have.
Well, and look, how many times have we seen where teams like, we'll just use Austria for a moment, and Austria would come out and play, balls to the wall against a France, and then, fall off the planet the rest of the tournament. They get blown out 5-0, and they're gone. But that one game that they play against the higher seed, they're so amped up that the next game they're exhausted.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like some of these other teams, you might say it's their Super Bowl, especially that comes
Right,
into play, on match day 3. If you got a team that's 0-2, has already been
right,
kicked out in fourth place because it
right,
doesn't matter what they do in that last match. But hey, we have a chance to maybe kick this team out of the group or make them
right,
not win the group, and it's
right.
Germany or something like that. Let's bring our best effort and
Hmm.
try to get a win here and come
Hmm.
away with something from this tournament at
Right,
least.
or even a draw.
Yeah. Yeah, any kind of points, right? Nobody
Yeah,
wants to leave 0-3. That's the
right.
worst you can do, to lose all 3 matches. Even a draw, in hindsight, you don't want just the 1 point, but at the end of the day, walking away with the 1 point makes you feel a lot better than losing all 3 matches and just getting swept out of the tournament.
I forget who it was in the World Cup. Maybe you'll remember. Uh, they played, and it was, they definitely were on their way out. They weren't coming back, and they had a chance to. I think they were playing Spain. They had a chance to, make them fall to the second level. So they didn't win. They were going through, but they didn't win. They could have won if they beat them. They didn't go across the mid stripe. They played 11 guys back. They played for a nothing draw, and that's exactly what they got.
Yeah, that might have been maybe Costa Rica was the
Yeah, it
team
might have
that
been. Might have been.
did that, because I know they got destroyed like
Mhm.
7-1 by Spain, and then,
Yeah,
Germany beat them too, I think.
right.
So, but yeah, I don't remember specifically, but absolutely, we
Mhm.
see this all the time, right? And that's why you got to take that into account. Like I said, every point matters. You're only
Mhm.
playing 3 matches. You don't get a home
Right.
advantage, so you're not going to see a team just because they're going up against a better team and they're down 1-0. You're not going to see them like, okay, let's mail it in. We got 2 more matches to get out of this group. No, you need that point. And now that you're losing to the better team, you really have nothing to lose. Let's go for it. And obviously that's going to be different because early on you're going to get a more conservative effort because the goal differential. But if you're in a situation on the final round where, yeah, you need the points, and losing 1-0 or losing 4-0 is not going to hurt you any more than losing 1-0 because the goal differential is not going to matter, then yeah, absolutely, you're going to see teams aren't going to sit back. They're going to get after it when they go down. And some of these other teams, like that Italy Albania, like if Italy's a minus 250 in this match, and like I said, they're a bit of a question mark to me, but if Albania goes down in this match, they can't sit back and say, oh, okay, well, we can get some points in the next 2 matches. Your next 2 matches are against Croatia and Spain. You don't really get a break. So a team like Albania, they're going to have to play on the front foot the entire tournament. There's going to be
Mhm.
no sitting back. They can't afford it.
Right. It's going to be a very interesting situation. Speaking of very interesting situation, I wanted to get wanted to get your take on last night. The U.S. was able to pull a draw with with Brazil. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, like I said, the friendlies don't mean much to me just because
Right.
I don't really know who was playing for Brazil in that match. I mean, if you're the US, it probably gives you a great amount of confidence going into this
Hmm.
tournament, coming away with a result like that. It makes you feel, especially after everyone, was making fun of Canada, Mexico, and USA all got destroyed by 4 goals on the previous match day. And I saw a couple troll accounts talking about how these your 2026 World Cup hosts, all three getting destroyed by 4 goals. But I think from the U.S. standpoint, you got to feel better about yourself going into the tournament for sure. Brazil is obviously, a football giant down in South America. So they don't have to see Brazil in their group. USA is in
Hmm.
a group with uh, Uruguay. I think Uruguay comes away with that group, but USA should finish second. I would be a bit shocked if they don't finish second. Now, in the quarterfinals, because we said Copa America goes right into the
Hmm.
quarterfinals, USA will have to face Brazil or Colombia, depending on unless one of the other two teams surprises. But it's probably going to be Brazil and Colombia. I think that comes out of that group, and whoever finishes first, they'll have to face. So they might have to face Brazil again in the quarterfinal if they finish second and Brazil wins their group. And again, going into that match, they got to feel somewhat confident because we did get a draw against these guys a few weeks ago. Now from Brazil's standpoint, again, I don't know where their mindset was at. I didn't see the lineups either. Brazil was probably using the match just as let's tweak some things. They've been trying their superstar Endrick out, who has officially played
Hmm.
his last match for Palmeiras. You won't see the next time you see him for a domestic club, it'll be in a Real Madrid jersey. But
Hmm.
yeah, they're testing these things because Brazil had a very disappointing World Cup
Right.
years ago. They got out of the group, but they failed miserably in the round of 16, and so
Hmm.
that's something they're going to be looking to avoid. Obviously, their rival Argentina is the defending champion, so they want to make a statement. They haven't won the Copa America. I think Uruguay won it the year before
Hmm.
Argentina won it because Argentina won it 4 years ago. Sorry, but 4 years prior to that, they lost in the final to Uruguay, which I think was in the United States as well. They hosted that
Right.
in 2016, I believe it was. So Brazil's got to be thinking, it's been over a decade now. Like we need to win something. We haven't done anything in the World Cup. We haven't done anything in the
Hmm.
Copa America. So Brazil might just be tinkering, and they come away with that match like we drew 1-1, whatever. Let's get ready for the real
Hmm.
thing. It's tough to say. That's why I say, these friendlies, it's tough to draw on that. But I think from the USA standpoint, it'll definitely boost them going in.
Sure. There is just a quick television note. Um, Fox has the games all on. They're 9, 12, and 3, which, as we talked about before, staggering those are really nice. So the games tomorrow are on Fox. The early game, I'm sorry, there's only one game tomorrow. It's on Fox. On Saturday, there's going to be 3 games. The first one is on FS1. The other two are on Fox. And so you're going to see Fox majority of the big games, one a day. They're going to have one a day of the big games. And then FS1 is going to have your others. There is no streaming. Okay. Fox does not stream. So if you are a streamer and you want to find these games, what you're going to have to do is take either a 7-day free trial with YouTube TV or Fubo or somebody like that to get to watch the games. So that's your situation there. Okay. All right. So I just did a quick check of the leaderboard at the PGA, and it looks like right now that everything stayed the same. Nobody's changing on that on the leaderboard at this point. And real quick, for those of you who are race fans, The 24 Hours of Le Mans is going to go off on Saturday. It'll go off at 10 a.m. You can watch it on either Motor Trend TV, if you which is a cable service, and also Motor Trend Plus, which is something if you can stream it. You can also stream it on Max. So that's where you can find it. There's 23 cars in the hyper, what the hyper car division, which it's Cadillac, it's Porsche, it's Toyota, and it is Ferrari. In that, Ferrari's favored. They've won the last two races, and although surprisingly, they've been pushed by Cadillac quite strong. So we'll see how it goes. See how that one goes in that particular segment. Let's move on real quick to the 16 cars that are in the LMPT category, and those are really dominated by the Orca cars, and Orca basically has every car in the LP2 system. So if you're going to bet on Orca Gibson, you're probably going to win that one. LMPG3, which is 23 cars, Aston Martin, BMW, the Ford Mustang, which is the Proton car, BMW, Ferrari, McLaren, Lamborghini, Ferrari. This is basically Lexus is in this, Corvette's in it, Lamborghini's in it, Ferrari's in it. This is the fun one to watch, because it is the one where you have all the really hot cars that you could actually potentially buy if you had ridiculous amount of money left to go. You can have some fun with it. So those are your three classes. The entire race will be flag to flag on Motor Trend and also on Max. Okay. All right. So there you go with that. Anything else here? Let's talk about, more importantly, let's talk about what you've got going tonight and tomorrow on your picks.
Yeah, make sure you check out my premium picks at bigal.com, pickadvisor.com, and theinsidersroom.com. The links are in the description below. I got some action in South America on the pitch tonight, both Argentina and Brazil, that you can get. My baseball game's already started, so no MLB action for later tonight, but make sure you check out my action on the pitch. You can also get my Euro Cup plays. I've posted my play for tomorrow's game, as well as the 3 matches on Saturday. So I have 5 plays with 4 matches. So go check that out.
Cool. All right. So we will be back tomorrow. We'll give you an opportunity to talk a little bit more about the PGA tournament. We'll do some more preview of Euro 24, and talk a little bit about what is start tomorrow afternoon, which is, of course, the College Baseball World Series. So a little bit of everything for everybody tomorrow. Everyone have a lovely day. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow. For Amedeus, I'm Jim. Take care. Bye-bye.